この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Sangatsu no Lion, Season 2, Episode 13. Last time on Sangatsu, oh, what an episode. We'd been waiting for a few episodes at that point for Hina's story to really take steps forward. Her bullying arc has been sort of sitting on the back burner with little asides that hint at its continuing development. But it hasn't come to the fore the way that it did in the last episode, and oh boy, did it ever come to the forefront. Man, it was pretty amazing. We've got a new teacher. Her previous teacher, the one who wasn't very helpful, just couldn't hack it. Just could not handle dealing with this sort of bullying and this sort of insane stuff that kids do all the time. Couldn't deal with it. Didn't know how to react, and became sort of a shuddering mess and quit. Probably a good thing for her, and a good thing for Hina too, and for the rest of the class, because her replacement teacher, the head teacher, seems a lot more experienced, has a lot more of a deft touch, and is much more willing to listen to the grievances of his students, because he's a lot more understanding that bullying isn't really about proof. It's about whether a kid feels like they're being bullied. And so recognizing that, he goes in and really tries to start things going. And boy, has he started some things going. There were some heated conversations, let's put it that way. Both between Akari Hina and the other mother, and then between the head teacher and the other mother. Some pretty crazy shit. I have no idea how this is going to wrap up. And I don't know if our perspective is going to continue following this Hina narrative, or if that's going to keep going on in the background and sort of developing slowly while we turn our focus back to Rei or towards something else. Only way to find out is to watch the next is to watch the next episode and see. So I've got the episode up. It's at 0 seconds. There will be multiple versions of this reaction video. You can find picture-in-picture versions with the video up there in the description down there. Timer-based version on YouTube with discussion at the end and a beep beep timer for syncing at the beginning. And that beep beep timer will go right here. Wow. She's so grateful. I love him so much. It's chill. Yeah. You ever want to reach through your computer screen and give somebody a hug? I want to hug Akari. And Hina. Yeah, let's do that. And there's a bit of light. Also, new OP is amazing. So is Tee&D. Yeah. Oh, that stop is tasty. It's just that one line that sounds almost exactly like Sugar Song. Okay, a small palm? Oh, fuck. Yeah. Uh-huh. Sure you are. Oh, flowers are back. Yeah, how about your attitude? How about fixing you? I don't know, maybe you'll be a little bit less of a bitch. What do I get out of being an okay person? So there's a nihilistic core. Of course there is. Huh. It always starts at home. Almost always. Oh man, these chair creaks. And the color comes back in. Yeah, so why you fucking up their lives? Yeah. Okay. Hmm. There's something interesting about planting things that will grow, things that need to be taken care of, as a contrast to that. Oh. Whoa. Calling them all out. Yeah. Yeah. He's serious as fuck. I love him. Ah. He's gonna find out too. Yeah. And people are talking. Especially now that the ringleaders have been taken out of the room. Sure. Sure. Right. Uh-huh. Exactly. It doesn't add up. Of course you are. Yeah, it's a hard fucking job. He is putting in the time to make this happen. God, I love him. Yeah. Hmm. A letter from Chiho? Must be. Yeah. Sweet. Is she having a better life? Individual. Okay. Oh. Okay. 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 Oh. People your own age. Again, planting and growing. And same thing with the plum syrup. It's setting something in motion that will yield results later. Excellent. Fucking excellent. Hell yeah. A small palm. Wonder what that's referring to. I don't know. In the sun. Ray going shopping for fresh groceries? He's got to be bringing them over, right? Yeah. Wow, it looks very different. Hello. Hope they're not changing right now. Hmm? Hmm? That sounds so nice to just lay on a tatami mat in the sun. A moment of peace. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, he fell asleep. Oh, from okay. They mess with his stomach? Yeah. Uh-huh. Perfect. Cute. Yes. All K names, huh? People aren't afraid to be associated with her because the bullying has ceased for the most part. That's so awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was going to remain unspoken, but damn, there are people on your side. Nice. But that's perfect. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, they don't have love. Okay. Yeah. He wasn't able to solve it. You did help her. Baka. Yeah. Oh my god. Alright, let's watch the preview. And see the end card. Hmm? Hmm? Ooh. Wait, was there another line? No, okay, that's the last line. Good, great, great. Watanabe Akio. Animator, character designer, and animation director goes by the pseudonym Poyoyon Rock? Oh. Character design and animation director for Bakemonogatari. That's something. Did key animation on Cosette. Animation director and character designer for Risaya. Character design for Hana Monogatari. All of the Monogataris as far as I can tell. The Soul Taker. Wow, okay, so he's been working with with Shaft and specifically what's his fucking name? The guy who does all of the Shaft things. Name? Oh, Shimbo. There we go. Duh. Akiyuki Shimbo. He's been working with Akiyuki Shimbo since before Shaft days. Because Soul Taker is a Shinbo work. Yeah. Is a Shinbo work, but before Shaft. Out of Tatsunoko. Prod. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Really cute. Super cute. The way the characters kind of fit together is really, really cool. Sort of fluffy. I don't know why I feel like fluffy is the word for this. But it's fluffy and then it's also kind of shiny. There are these little shiny bits. Yeah. Interesting style. Okay. So let's talk about this episode. The first thing that stood out to me about this episode was the theme of growing things. Or more accurately, like planting seeds that will bear fruit in the future. And I think that's something that was very intentionally put in here as a contrast to the stuff that Bully Girl Takagi, I don't think that's right. That she was talking about, because she displays just a couple of lines of pessimistic and nihilistic thinking. Like, well, even if I do my best, even if I work hard now, there's no proof that that will bear fruit in the future, that that will come back to me. And this is it's a difficult philosophy to answer because it requires a bit of like trust in the future in order to answer it. And if you don't have that, you can't like you can't believe that hard work will pay off. If you don't like, it's hard to prove her wrong. And that's why her philosophy, her way of looking at the world is insidious and dangerous and a bit of a problem, because it's logically correct, but that's not the way that the world works. Like, logically, sure, you shouldn't necessarily put a lot of effort into things because there's no guarantee that it will come back and pay off. All right. But that sort of misses the point. the point is, regardless of whether it comes back and pays off for you, it's good and it's the right thing to be doing. It's right to be putting effort into things. Oh, how do I phrase this in a way that's like coherent? Because this is a big philosophical issue, and specifically an issue with the way that people today live their lives, and I guess at all times live their lives. If you don't buy into the idea that you can exchange effort for future gain, not just for you, but for everyone around you, then you don't buy it, and that's that. But it's true. Like I like to think of truth as how do I even start? God damn it. Let's go through her dialogue so that I can use that as a jumping off point. Okay. Mute. I already apologized, blah blah blah, right? Yes, with your words but not with your actions. You haven't figured out what you've done wrong. You don't understand why it's wrong. We see this later when she says like it's something like empathy. The hell's the point of that? Part of the work is becoming aware of what you did. Will something change? If something changes, will I get something good out of it? Tell me, Mr. Kokaboo. Will something good happen if we keep living? Everyone says do your best and study hard so you can get into a good high school. But even if I got into a good school, who's to say I'll get a job at all, let alone one at a good company? Is that a good enough reason not to try? I don't think so. But it's easy to see how that line of thinking could work. If you do your best, you'll get good results. This is like a philosophy of how you should live your life. Do your best and good results will come. It's almost a platitude though. And what she's doing is she's nitpicking the platitude. Like, yeah, but maybe it won't. There are plenty of people who put in lots and lots of work and never go anywhere for various reasons. Sometimes just luck, sometimes because they're working in the wrong directions. But it's enough that she's able to say there's no guarantee that this will actually work. There's no guarantee. And if I worked as hard as I could, but it didn't work out and I didn't get a job or I didn't succeed, then nobody would be there to help. Nobody would be there to take responsibility for telling me to go and do all of these things. And the teacher kind of sees through this a little bit and is like, okay, so you're anxious about the future because you're not sure whether putting in the effort will actually pay off. The question is like, well, have you tried it? Have you actually tried it? Because in reality, in my experience, and I think in the experience of a lot of people, and this again sounds like a platitude, but putting in your best effort is its own reward because you as a person, when you're not giving something your all. When you could have done a lot more or even a little bit more. And it nags at the back of your head a little bit. And when you actually put in your best effort, that doesn't happen. All you get is the accomplishment of having put in your best effort, regardless of whether what you're working on pans out or not. Putting everything towards something is valuable in and of itself because it lets you know who you are and what you're capable of. And the knowledge that you can put your all into something is more valuable than the results of that thing infinitely, because you can take that skill, and it is a skill, the skill of being able to apply yourself to whatever, whether it's art um, or code or math or science or whatever it is, or help making reaction videos on YouTube. It doesn't really matter because if you're putting your all into it, you know that, and you know that you can transfer that ability to apply yourself completely to anything else, and that is infinitely valuable. Plus, you get to respect yourself a little bit. It's like, yeah, I put in everything. I did everything that I could. That's there's nothing more valuable that you can think or say than that, to be able to not have regrets. Maybe you didn't put your effort into the right thing, and maybe that's why it didn't pan out, if it didn't. But you get the ability to know that you tried, and there's no nagging regret in the back of your head, like, you didn't actually put all your effort in. You didn't half-ass it. That's incredibly valuable, because that bit of regret can easily turn into, well, then you're not good at anything, or you're useless because you couldn't put all your effort in. If you can put everything into something, you know you can do that elsewhere, and that's just so important. But her perspective is perfectly illustrated visually through this darkness that we get in the early portions of the scene. This desaturated, empty, dark, black and white. It's fantastic. And then this is sort of framed almost like an interrogation, but we're immediately on the side of the teacher because he's right. And she's asking these nitpicky questions. Will something good happen? Are you sure? What if it doesn't? What if? See, I part of this is that I personally believe the opposite of what she's saying. Like, it doesn't matter if you're guaranteed to get good results out of hard work. Hard work is important in and of itself. It's intrinsically valuable. It's a skill, and more than that, it's something that other people will see and respect and grow from. And like, Hina as a person is someone, or as a character, I guess. I can't help but think of her as a person because she's so damn well written that they all are, that I could believe all of these characters existing. She's someone who, in her daily life, disproves all of this because she gives it her all. She gives everything her best, and it rubs off. It's had an immense impact on Ray. It's literally saved him, as he said. It's got an impact on her family. They are as bright and wonderful as they are because all of them are working together and working toward their own goals, working to stay as a team. It's just like, it's a perfect contrast. And then we get into this thread, this sort of theme of growing things. And it's interesting that it's immediately after we hear this scene, right? So we have this conversation, let's talk. And the teacher here is trying to plant seeds, right? He's trying to start the conversation and start something down the next steps, the next things to do, which may or may not pay dividends, but they're the right direction to go. And then we immediately cut to planting things, planting food plants, right? Perilla plant, basil, we'll put mint elsewhere. Growing things. Putting something into the ground with the trust that it will grow into something useful later. That's like the polar opposite of what she was talking about during that conversation with the teacher. She's like, what's the point of putting a plant in the ground and watering it every day and taking care of it? What if it just dies? Well, it could. Yeah, you could get an infestation of pests, and it could get all eaten up, and that would suck. Is that a good reason not to plant it? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. There's an interesting line in the Bible, which this is a weird thing to bring in, but I think it's relevant in the sense of being a parable. I don't remember which book it is, but Jesus in the New Testament says at one point, "O ye of little faith, if you had only the faith of a mustard seed, then you could move mountains." Paraphrasing, of course. And a lot of people take this to mean like, oh, if you had just the smidgen of faith, just a little bit of trust. But that's not what it means. Like, a seed doesn't doubt that it will be able to grow into a tree or a vine or a bush or whatever. It's 100% certain of it, regardless of anything else going on around it. If we think of the seed as a conscious entity, right? It's not. All it can do is move forward and grow up. So the faith of a mustard seed is infinite, really, because it doesn't matter what you do to it. It will try to grow. It will attempt to live. And that's like a core tenet of life on this planet, and as far as we've ever experienced it. You try to keep going forward. You want to be alive. You want to grow. So that little faith is it's quite a bit of faith. It's immense trust in yourself. And that sort of seems thematically relevant. I wouldn't have brought it up otherwise. That seems thematically relevant here because I feel like Hina is a character who has that faith, who has that belief in herself and in the world. And that's the important thing, is like a trust in the world and a trust in the society in which she lives, that if she puts in the effort, it will come back. But not making the effort conditional on a guarantee of success. Does that make sense? It's not, I won't try unless I'm guaranteed to get something out of it. It's, I will try and hopefully I will get something out of it. But it even more than just hopefully, it's like, and I trust that something will come back to me. That's super important because that trust is the foundation of society. Without people putting in their trust that their hard work will pay dividends and allow them to support themselves, allow them to grow, nothing would ever get done. Nobody would go to their jobs. Nobody would invent anything because, well, there's no guarantee, right? There's no guarantee it will come back to me. And the head teacher here, is treating his class, his children, as though they are little plants or seeds. He talks about teaching and raising, and how the raising part is what really gets him going, what makes him feel like it's worthwhile, is raising something and nurturing a human being or a group of human beings every year into valuable members of society, into people who can live their own lives and who can trust in themselves and grow. So this is a really, I don't know if I would call it a nuanced theme with the growing things, but it's a strong theme. And we get this cut of him putting in the work, cut back to growing things. And this time it's Akari, and she's frowning with the feeling that she maybe messed up a little bit during the parent-teacher conference, because she's a little bit down on herself, but she's still going ahead and planting the plants. She's still putting things in the ground and making changes, pushing forward, growing. And it takes a hard head to do that in the face of adversity. Like, this teacher as a character is so perfect because he's hard-headed, he's stubborn, and he's stubbornly trotting along the path. He's just like trudging forward. That's the word I was looking for. He's trudging forward regardless of the obstacles that are put up in his way. And it's the polar opposite of the previous teacher, who gave up, who had already given up by the time we met her in the series. She had given up years ago, and it was just just waiting for the last straw to break her. But this teacher, he cares so much that he puts in the work. We get these not so heartfelt apologies, and then that leads into the direct conversation. And he's sort of like, man, this is hard. This is hard stuff. But there's no hint of him being willing to give up. It's just like, this is a hard job. Gonna get back at it tomorrow, or even keep working on it late into the night, as we see. That's really fantastic. I think that's inspirational because, man, a lot of people don't put in the effort that they could and should. And I say should in the like moral obligation sense. I think that individual human beings have a moral obligation to try. at whatever. And a lot of people are stuck in this place where they don't know what they want to do. And I've been there for a long time, where you don't know what you want to do or what you can do. And so you justify that by coming up with like things like Takagi says. I'm going to call her Takagi because I think that's her name. Things like she says, well, why give it a shot? It might not work out. Why try? What if? Yeah, but what if you can succeed? What if you actually put the effort in, you got something out of it? Wouldn't that be kind of amazing? Wouldn't that be kind of cool to be able to look back at yourself and say, wow, I've changed. I've become better. I've gained. Personally, on like a fundamental human level, I have gained something. I've gained the ability to put my all into something and feel the sense of accomplishment at seeing it come to fruition. Feel the sense of accomplishment at seeing my garden grow. Because that's what other purpose are you going to find in life? Like helping yourself, helping the world. What else is worthwhile? Stacking up cash? For what end? If you've got a reason for it, then maybe. But to what end? What are you going for? What is the purpose? Are you able to reach other people and maybe help them in some way? Are you able to say something to them to help them on their journey? Because that's what I think is valuable, and that's what I want to do. You know, like that's a huge motivating factor for what I do in my daily life, which is this, right? I get to talk to hundreds, sometimes thousands of people with every video that I put out. That's amazing, but it's also a lot of responsibility. And you know, these questions are real, and these nagging pessimistic thoughts are real and always there. It's like, well, okay, but what if you fail, right? What if you put all your effort into this and you still fail? And I have to push those out. I have to just like, okay, yeah, that's possible. I could fail. Like I started this channel a month away from starvation. I had a month of food in the fridge and freezer, and I was like, all right, if I can make $100 this month, then I will be able to survive next month, and then we can go from there. There was every chance that I could fail, but I didn't think about that. I couldn't think about that. I had to floor it. I had to just put everything into it and know, and not even know, but trust that I could make this happen, that I could grow this channel into something legitimate, something real, something with the ability to talk to hundreds or thousands of people, with the ability to touch enough of them that they would be willing to support me in return. And now, like, let me check. I haven't checked this morning. Yeah, that was what, 6 months ago now? It's about 6 months ago. When we barely hit that $100 survival goal. And now there are 159 different people who care about what I'm doing enough to give me money every month. Like, that's something that's it's kind of hard to wrap my head around. And it still sort of floors me. And we'll get off of this train of thought in just a minute and get back to talking about the episode. But I just want to mention this because it is something that kind of floors me, that I'm able to do something that people consider valuable. Do you know how good that feels? It's insane. It's insane how good that feels to produce something that people say thank you for, that people are genuinely grateful to have in their lives. That's amazing. And for all of the detractors and you know, there aren't that many really compared to other channels that I've seen, for all of the people who say shit and talk shit. I mean, it's YouTube comments, you know, you get YouTube comments. There are so many more who are grateful for this content that I put out. That's amazing. That's like special. And that's what I set out to do from the very beginning. I wanted to talk about and cast shows that touch people in a new light that can perhaps touch them as well, and perhaps share new perspectives on the things that we watch. And that's what I really want to do. I want to talk about stories and how they impact us, what they're saying, and what they mean, and what we can gain from them as individuals. What and you know what, that adds another layer, right? Like, anime isn't exactly a profitable venture, not for the individual people who are creating it. It can be profitable in a broader sense, for it can keep companies running, and it can sell merchandise, and it can work as an advertisement for other things, and it can be amazingly popular in its own right if you happen to get a knockout success. But the vast majority of anime are just like barely made. The money isn't the reason that these shows are being made, and it's usually not the reason that any works of creative anything are made, except for maybe big Hollywood blockbusters. But they're made to say something and to touch people, and all of that effort going into a show without anything but the trust and hope that the audience will care, that the audience will care enough to support it, that the audience will get something out of it, that the creative vision and the themes and stories being told will matter to somebody. That's all trust, right? It's not guaranteed from the outset. It's always a matter of trust, a matter of belief. And I'm just sort of piggybacking on that, you know? And maybe I don't succeed all the time, and that's true. A lot of my videos, I don't feel that I've hit my own mark of saying something really worthwhile about a show or about an episode. Sometimes it's really hard to do. Sometimes there isn't that much there. And sometimes I'm just off and not able to see it. And so be it, you know, that's part of the deal. But sometimes there are things that I can say and be pretty confident about. And Sangatsu is one of those shows that gives me that opportunity more than most, because it's so strong, because its themes and its characters and its messages are so strong and powerful and valuable, that I can look at them and say, wow, this means something to me. Maybe if I can talk about it, maybe if I can express what this means to me, other people will see it in that way. Maybe that'll be valuable to them too. Maybe that'll add some value to the way that they see this show. Because I know from people's comments and people talking in the Discord that this is a show that's touched a lot of people, that's manifested actual change for them in the way that they think about things. That's incredible. That's incredible. So if I can add just a little percentage of that to just a little percentage of the people who've seen the show, and a little percentage of those who actually watch my videos, what could be more helpful for me? What could be more valuable for me than to be able to add something to the world? And I think the proof is in the pudding, sort of, because when I am able to add stuff, when I am able to say things with clarity and speak my feelings and express the value that I get out of anime, that's when my Patreon explodes. And that's kind of a weird way to measure stuff, right? But it's true. I think the biggest day for my Patreon ever was one of the early Sangatsu episodes, where I went deep into my motivations and was so deeply touched by Ray's struggle with depression, and was able to relate it to myself. And you know, that's something that, as a creator and somebody who is funded entirely by Patreon, by the community, that's something to take note of, right? It's something that you want to be thinking about, because all else aside, this is, for me, a business to an extent, right? It's a passion project, yes, but I need it to work. So I have to like figure out what works. And what works more than anything is honesty and earnestness and a willingness to share what I actually feel. That's where my power as a creator comes from, is being able, I'm just a person, right? I'm just a person behind a camera with a microphone. That's all that differentiates me from anyone else who watches anime. So the question is, what can I do with that is of the most value to the most number of people? Because when I provide value to people, it comes back to me. That's like, again, that's proof in the pudding here, and it's like a real world way, a real world refutation, a response to that sort of pessimistic outlook. Because when I do put my all into it, and when I do create value, people take notice, and it comes back. That's amazing. That's amazing. And I think it's a fundamental way a fundamental way that the world works. When you create value, you flourish. When you plant seeds and nurture them, you yourself grow. Not just your garden, but you yourself. It's a magical thing. Okay. Anyway, I want to get off of this little thread, this crazy tangent about me and Patreon and stuff. It's just something that I've been thinking about recently. Because I'm constantly thinking, if I'm in this situation where producing the most value produces the most value for me, well, then the question is, how do I produce the most value in every video that I make? Where do I put it? How do I say it? What do I talk about? Well, what I want to talk about is the answer. It always is. Whatever is genuine, whatever is earnest, because that's the thing that seems to be the most valuable. Anyway, okay. Off this plot thread, off this tangent. Is it okay if I don't forgive them? And then, yeah, this line. What does she say she's drawing? Compassion. Is that like hypocrisy? Now, she's such an interesting character and an interesting foil for Hina. Because just as I want to like reach through the screen and give Akari and Hina hugs, I want to reach through the screen and choke this bitch out. Seriously, I really do. And we talked about this in the last episode where I was just hoping that Hina would punch her. But that's a really thin desire, right? It's a little reptile brain rage. What I really want is for her to see the truth, and that's what the teacher seems to want too. He wants to instill in her some kind of light, some kind of goodness, some kind of desire to be a functioning member of society instead of tearing down those around you who are. So that's not valuable. That's not helpful to anyone. I mean, tearing down someone like Hina is the equivalent of killing a doctor, right? You're hurting somebody and preventing them from providing the help and love and light that they provide to the world. That's fucked up. But at the same time that I want to reach through the screen and just like get it in your head, at the same time, her perspective isn't, while I disagree with it, it isn't horribly unreasonable or unrealistic, and it is a perspective that I think a lot of people fall into, especially in this day and age, where I feel like a lot of people are a lot less connected to the results of their efforts. That's a good way to put it. If you're working in a desk job, then the work that you put in is probably a drop in the bucket in terms of your company's success, and you probably don't receive much from it. You've got a set salary, and maybe you get a little bonus for something, for going above and beyond the call of duty, but the actual impact of the work that you do is harder to feel unless you work in certain creative fields where you have like audience interaction. That's something, again, okay, let's go back to talking about me. What a narcissist. It's something that's sort of magical about what I'm doing is that I have a direct line to the people who are experiencing my content. That's something that people don't always talk about, and it's something that's a little bit more common now, especially in artistic fields. You know, if somebody puts out an anime, they're gonna get a billion responses on Twitter real quick, so they'll have the ability to have their finger on the pulse of what they've done. And you know, if you're a key animator on a show, then when the episode airs, you can probably see a bunch of people talking about it, and that's sort of a magical thing that the internet brings us. But I feel like a lot of people in more traditional jobs are more disconnected from the results of their labor and from the impact that it has on other people around them. I think that's a damn shame. I think it's something that is valuable because, well, it's motivating. It's powerful to know that what you're doing impacted other people in a positive way. It's super valuable. I guess people in certain service industries get this sometimes. They get to see the impact. But you know, if you're like a plumber or a painter or something like that, then you come in, you do your work, and you can see the job well done. The plumbing works, or the house is painted, or whatever. But then you leave, and you don't get to experience the family living there and their general happiness at having pipes that aren't backed up and walls that are painted. You know, you don't get to experience that. That is just something that you have to trust in. So I think that's unfortunate. I think that that's something important to know that your work is paying off. I don't know how I got on this tangent. I'm all over the place today, but I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. I like rambling sometimes. Our job is to teach. Okay, back to the show, shall we? Our job is to teach and raise students. Take raise out of the equation, and I never would have gotten involved. But that's what I'm here for. It's to nurture, it's to raise. And we can see his. Mm, what's the word for this feeling that he has? It's so multifaceted and complex, and it comes across perfectly from the show. It's this ah the first word that comes into mind is grit and determination. But it's not quite that. It's this it's more the things that are implied by that, because grit and determination implies difficulty. And when he grits his teeth here and clenches his jaw, he's like, I'm doing the right thing, but it's fucking hard, and this hurts me to do. Why isn't the world right? It's this heroic desire to set things right and to put in your own effort in order to do it. And that's what we see here in the next scene. He alone, late at night, the lights are out, in the school, toiling endlessly. Will he receive overtime pay for this or get something back for it? Doubt it. Maybe he'll get a heartfelt thank you from someone like Hina, whose life is touched by the work that he puts in. But what he'll really get is the knowledge that he did everything he could. That's awesome. To put these two philosophies and embody them, really three philosophies, and embody them in three different characters. The teacher pushing forward to grow and raise his children. Hina pushing forward to be who she is and to not let herself be stopped by the obstacles in her way. And then Takagi unwilling to push forward because she doesn't see the reason to. It's just stellar. It's perfect. And then we get a little reward. In terms of emotions for us, we get a little reward. A seed planted a long time ago in Chiho. We find out that she's doing okay. That she's working out here, and that she's on the same path, in a sense. She's doing the same thing. She's putting effort into her own daily schooling and daily experience, but she's also putting effort into learning things and creating things. Things that don't bear fruit immediately. Things like the jam and the syrup. And I think these are really, it's important that these are the things that she's making here. Because they're things that age, that you put effort into, and then later, if you put the right effort into them and you set everything up correctly, they pay dividends down the line. You get the syrup from the plums, or the plum wine, or whatever it is. Plum wine, plum syrup, and plum jam. That's fantastic. So we get these moments where Chiho is reconnecting with her family, and she's making friends with people who are older than she is, but she's in a better place at this point. And that's fantastic. And she's also planting corn. I'd like to eat that corn with you. Nice. Man. And then we have this sort of beautiful scene, which is used to end this Hina bullying arc. And I don't think it's completely done, but we're on the right path. And it won't ever be quite like it was. The contrast between this and the scene where Hina comes home with her shoe missing, crying, and just... it's the polar opposite. And it feels earned. This glow that Rei sees. It's beautiful. I'm sort of wondering if this is going to lead into a potentially romantic subplot. I'm not positive what the age difference is between Rei and Hina, but I think it's more than a few years. So that'd be kind of weird. Long time in the future. Give them 10 years. They can date. I ship it in 10 years. needs some time to bear fruit. But the episode gets very cute and very sweet. This soft aura around her. And he ends up falling asleep. It's beautiful. And again, marmalade is something that takes time. I think it's over. I think it's finally over. They come back here to where it all started for us, for Rei. And she's back to a normal school life. Baking cookies with her friends. With new friends. People who had stood by the wayside, who were bystanders. Who felt guilt at distancing themselves from her and from Chiho. The problems are genuinely being solved. You can see it in their faces, and they feel terrible. This is contrasted to the other girl's apology. I'm so sorry. I did a bad thing. Let me go. This is genuine. This is genuine apology. That's what she needs. That's what the teacher's trying to instill in her, is like understanding that what you did isn't okay. And more than not okay, like you shouldn't feel good about that or even okay about it. It's a bad thing. And these girls get it. And so they can be forgiven. You might not forgive us, and that's okay. I love this shot of all of their legs moving. It kind of reminds me of Yamada's leg focus in K-On! There's a spring in their step. They make cookies. It's cute and kind of lovely. Again, another thing that they're putting effort into and then waiting for it to finish, and then they get something out of it. Ray feels like he hasn't fixed it, right? He wanted to be the hero. He wanted to be the one who solved everything. And I think I wanted him to as well, right? It'd make sense. To an extent. But I think I like this better. That he wasn't able to come up with an answer. But he was already doing what he needed to. Just being there, just listening, just caring. Sometimes that's all that you need to do. And sometimes you have to trust that other forces that are more closely related to the problem will act to solve it. Sometimes you don't need to be the source of the solution. Sometimes you can just be part of the support network. I think that's powerful. God damn. This is so well written. Even though you listened all those times, even though you did so much, how can you say that you weren't able to solve it? Shut up, you stupid. You baka. Definitely going to go visit her. Off we go. The small heroine who never gave in, who always kept pushing. Made another promise and a little oath of loyalty in my head. Damn straight. Man, I thought last episode was going to take the cake, but this one's even better. This show's too damn good for its own good. It really is. More people need to see it. A lot more people need to see it. Some powerful messages in this one. Some real value to it. Okay. I'm going to wrap it up. Let's do shill stuff. If you like this video, there's a button for that. And if you want more videos like this, there's a button for that too. And if you want that button to actually work, you can use this button, which is the version of that button that actually works. And if you really like this content, you can head over to... Oh, this got kind of bent out of shape. Yikes. You can head over to patreon.com/Teeaboo in order to support this guy who makes this content and get more of it. So early access to all of my weeklies and access to the Discord to chat about stuff and the ability to vote in polls for what I watch next whenever slots open. Yeah, lots of good stuff. So check that out if you want to. I appreciate it greatly. Thank you, all of you patrons. I love you. And I've been Teeaboo. This has been Sangatsu. I hope that you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And as always, I hope to catch you next week in the next one. Peace.